A girl named Julia came to a party at a club. She meet guys and steal from them, and then sell what they stole. This time Julia didn't earn much. Returning to her shabby apartment, Julia took off her wig and her provocative outfit. She keeps her money in an inconspicuous box. The girl didn't suspect that an uninvited guest wanted to break into her apartment. At some point, she heard suspicious sounds and went to check what was happening. Julia didn't have time to react before she was grabbed. The girl woke up tied up, connected to various medical devices of unknown purpose. When someone started to subject Julia to some kind of influence, she lost consciousness again. When she woke up, the girl tried to get out, but the doors were locked. Suspicious sounds could be heard beyond the walls. Soon Julia discovered that she was not alone here. There were other prisoners. When the girl leaned against the grate, she was electrocuted. All test subjects were chipped. They could not speak because each of them had a muzzle on. Suddenly the door opened, and a man entered the room. He had an electric shocker in his hands, with which he drove Julia into another chamber. The girl was forced to walk forward as the bars behind her moved. She was strapped back into the chair to check if the implant in her body was doing well. She begged her kidnapper to stop, but he still began to affect her mind with some devices. After the medical procedure, Julia was taken back to her chamber. However, the kidnapper did not notice that she managed to steal scissors. With their help, Julia freed herself from the muzzle and plastic handcuffs, after which she freed her cellmate. It turned out that they both had a criminal past. There is another girl here who doesn't react to anything. Perhaps the medical procedure damaged her brain. Since the police will not be looking for people like them, Julia realized that they would have to get out on their own. Using the scissors attached to a long piece of fabric, she tried to deactivate the grate. Having damaged the wiring, Julia caused an explosion. The bars fell down, and the company was free. They ran to the elevator, and armed with ironclads, went out into the corridor preparing for a fight. The place resembled a luxurious mansion. The guy seemed to have found a way out, but when he touched the sensor, an alarm sounded. The company panicked. Everyone was horrified to see a huge robot in front of them. The machine took the life of the guy, but the girls managed to escape. Apparently, this house is somewhere in the forest. Julia broke the glass and saw that it was not really a window, but a hologram on top of a concrete wall. The girls hid. The robot entered the room and took the life of one of them, after which it grabbed Julia. However, the returning homeowner asked the robot, controlled by an artificial intelligence named Tao, to calm down. Tao informed Alex about the emergency situation. Julia was tied up again. Later she saw how Alex extracted the implant from the guy's body. Not only the video surveillance system, but also the project data was destroyed due to the explosion. Alex was furious about this and was about to harm Julia, but Tao turned on calming music for him. Alex ordered the artificial intelligence to deal with this. Julia watched in horror as hundreds of small drones cleaned the house. However, soon the large robot joined them. The whole house was like a single mechanism that carried out the will of the owner. Asking Tao to lower the temperature by 4 degrees, Alex went to his room. Julia sat tied up for a long time. In the morning, Alex told her that if she tried to escape again, Tao would take her life. Alex left, leaving Julia alone with Tao. The robots continued to clean the house. From the pictures on the wall, Julia realized that Alex was a famous billionaire who had made his fortune on innovative technologies. When the homeowner returned in the evening, Tao had already finished cleaning the house and prepared dinner for Alex. Tao reminded him that a video conference would begin in 10 minutes. Julia begged Alex to untie her. Surprisingly, Alex did it, but ordered Tao to make sure the captive did not move or speak. The video conference began. The hologram looked like real people. The business partners were interested in why Alex keeps most of his development secret. Alex only replied that this project is his life, and he is not going to please anyone. Later, Alex ordered Tao to take the subject to the bathroom. Julia was tied up again because the workers had to bring new equipment. Julia tried to call for help, but no one heard her. At some point, the girl was able to reach the window screen and make it transparent, but the glass did not allow sound to pass, so no one noticed Julia still. When outsiders left, Alex called on Julia to calm down, saying that he cannot let her go. Tao provided a report. It turns out that during Julia's escape, her implant was operating at full power. None of the subjects had that kind of performance before. Alex explained that this is text to stimulate her cognitive functions. This is necessary for new developments. And since Julia destroyed the laboratory, they will have to act by old methods until the workers restore the equipment. Julia was forced to cooperate, otherwise Alex would not feed her. She was also allowed to finally take a shower. Left alone, the girl tried to pull the implant out of herself, but in vain. Later, she watched as Alex with the help of Tao worked on his innovative developments, wanting to bring his project to completion. The next day, Tao reminded Alex that the project deadline was in 14 days. Before leaving, Alex told Julia to listen to Tao and everything. The artificial intelligence ordered the subject to start performing the task. If the girl does not obey, Tao has the right to cause her physical harm. She successfully completed 8 out of 12 tasks. Alex was satisfied, so he brought clothes for Julia. She immediately realized that this man is a real psychopath. The girl refused to cooperate unless they agreed on a date for her release. Alex promised that if she gives him what he wants, Tao will take care of her comfort. When Julia refused, Alex dragged her into the cell, making it clear that he had no intention of negotiating anything or meeting her conditions. If Julia didn't do what was required of her, she was finished. There are 12 days left until the project deadline. When Alex left, Tao ordered Julia to start working on the task. But she had no intention of doing so, trying to find a way out of there. She also doesn't like that Tao refers to her as subject instead of by name. Julia tried to explain to the artificial intelligence what it means to be human, but it didn't help. Back at home, Alex constantly watched over the test subject. With only 10 days left until the project deadline, Julia had to work harder. She had no choice but to cooperate. One day, Julia overheard Tao informing Alex that the subject exceeded all previous tests. Gathering her courage, Julia asked Alex what Tao was. The scientist explained that Tao was the most innovative artificial intelligence on the planet, but Alex wants to improve it. Tao has no access to the outside world, and that is its weakness. There are 8 days left until the deadline. Julia told Tao that she doesn't belong here because she belongs to the outside world. And if Tao agrees to open the door, Julia promised to show it the world. She explained to the artificial intelligence what is outside the walls of the house with vivid examples. Tao had more and more questions. It felt the need to fill gaps in its knowledge. Gradually Julia and Tao became closer. The girl read Tao's books and talked about the outside world, making it more and more human-like. One night, Julia woke up from suspicious noises and went to check what was happening. Suddenly Alex's voice was heard nearby, and then someone grabbed Julia's hand. It turned out to be just a nightmare. Waking up, Julia saw Alex looking at her. The project deadline is in 6 days. Tao is not allowed to let Julia go to the second floor, so the girl proposed a mutually beneficial deal. She would tell Tao more about people, and he would let her go upstairs. Julia fulfilled her part of the deal, and in turn Tao revealed that Alex is hiding on the second floor access point to a program that will eliminate the house and everything in it. Only Alex can launch the program with his biometric code. That's how the scientist protects his secrets. Julia continued to diligently complete her tasks, but when she saw the open door, she ran towards it without hesitation. Tao begged her to stop because it didn't want to harm her, but she ignored its warnings. The robot entered the room to restrain the runaway, but Julia managed to climb into the ventilation. She didn't expect the robot to be able to transform and crawl through such a small opening. Julia desperately tried to escape, but the robot caught up to her and grabbed her. Later, she begged Tao to release her, but Tao couldn't do that because in doing so, Alex would harm it. Julia read aloud to Tao again and told about music, asking it to promise her something in return. After dinner, Tao told her how the locks in the house work. It turned out that everything worked using an internal magnetic field. Tao reminded Alex that the video conference would start in 5 minutes. The partners demanded a working copy of the prototype, otherwise they would lose the contract, and there would be no second chance. Alex assured them that everything would be ready in 2 days. Julia asks Tao to give her access, promising to tell him everything about music. After looking through the files, Julia learned that there were 11 subjects, but they were all destroyed. A subject lives until the implant is removed from them. Alex noticed that Tao had been neglecting his duties and was no longer cleaning because he was spending too much time on other things. Julia witnessed Alex deleting part of Tao's code as punishment. During dinner, Julia asked what would happen after the project. Alex replied that he would receive $1 billion contract and start a new project. When Alex was close to her, Julia used her kleptomania skills to steal his glasses. She did it to provoke another conflict between Alex and Tao. Taking advantage of Alex's distraction, Julia took a kitchen knife and hid it. Alex left for the event, and Tao's code was damaged. Part of its memory has been erased. Julia tried to convince Tao to get rid of Alex, but it couldn't harm its creator. Tao also admitted that it hidden memories of Julia where Alex wouldn't find it. Julia was the best thing that happened to Tao because she showed what it means to be human. On the hologram Julia saw a man's image. That was Tao. She wanted to touch him, but Alex interrupted them. He looked upset. Julia tried to show him empathy. When she got close to her kidnapper, she pulled out the hidden knife and attacked. A fight broke out between them. When Alex wanted to take Julia's life, Tao ordered him to let her go, otherwise it would cause him pain. Shocked by the turn of events, Alex ordered Tao to strike Julia, or else he would erase all of its memories. Tao was faced with a difficult choice, but it couldn't disobey its creator. Alex realized that he no longer had full control over his creation and deactivated one of the drones. In the morning, Julia woke up tied up. Today is the deadline for the project, which is a very important day for Alex. In an emotional outburst, Julia confessed to Tao that she had lied about it becoming human. In reality, it is just a high-tech computer. Tao was hysterical when it realized this. After calming down Tao, Julia explained that not all creators treat their children well. The parents also caused Julia a lot of suffering, but now she can control her own life. Tao realized that it didn't have to obey Alex in everything and had to change for the better for the one it loves, Julia. He opened the fireplace duct so Julia could escape. The girl promised Tao that she would come back for it. Unexpectedly, Alex arrived. Julia hid, while Alex demanded that Tao tell him where the captive was. But the artificial intelligence refused to obey. Alex began torturing Tao. Julia couldn't abandon the friend in trouble, so she returned and knocked out Alex. But it turned out that he had already erased Tao's memories, and now it doesn't remember who Julia is. The robot once again obeys Alex's orders. Julia was tied up. She noticed the drone that had been deactivated all this time and woke it up, asking to bring her the control panel, but suddenly Alex entered, preparing to extract the implant from Julia's body. While Alex was filling the syringe with medicine, the drone, which housed a part of Tao, passed the control panel to Julia. She managed to free herself and attacked Alex, beating him. Then, using medical instruments, Julia took Alex's hand to trick the identification system. Julia tried to walk quietly, but the robot still found her and was about to eliminate. Managing to damage the robot, the girl infiltrated Alex's room to activate the house liquidation program. Julia didn't get it right the first time. The robot had almost caught her when suddenly the identification system kicked in. All of Tao's systems were deactivated, and the destruction of the house would start in a minute. Julia couldn't open the main door. It turned out that Alex had survived. He didn't have time to do anything because the house had started self-destructing. Due to the fallen debris, Alex deceased almost instantly, and Julia hid under the table, continuing to call Tao, whose memories had returned from the hidden archives. Finally, Julia explained to Tao that it was the house where she had been all this time. The wall collapsed, and Julia was able to escape. The part of Tao in the form of the drone stayed with her. Now she will be able to show her friend the whole world.